asleep. For real? Yeah, you breaking in, dog. You gonna be with me? I got you, man. Let's go. God damn. Oh, well. Get that plan.
This obviously is about bullies. But what I want us to bring to mind is that Neptune is involved with this transit, as I will explain. And Neptune brings in the act of romanticizing someone. And romanticizing someone, or romanticizing a culture, a society, a people, a legacy, a collective image. You can romanticize anything that Neptune applies itself to. And what happens when you romanticize is you select to see what you want to see. The truth could be right there, dead in front of you, but you're selected to see it in a certain way. You prefer to see what you want to see, okay? It's like you're in the, let's say you're in the dating market, and you come across someone, you see all these red flags about this person. You see all these things about this person that's questionable, that's not good, that wouldn't be healthy for you, okay? All these bad habits and things of that nature, but you're choosing, you're insisting on seeing what you want to see, okay? Because there's some benefit in it that you really want. So you're willing to sell your soul, you're willing to sell your values, sell your principles, sell your morals, sell your conviction, silence your inner child, okay? And everything else. You totally abandon all of the forces and networks of yourself in order to have what the fuck you want to have. And then when it doesn't go right and it pops your bubble, you're looking for somebody to blame. You want to cry victim, okay? It's one of those situations. So this is where the romanticized illusion, it fades away. About somebody who's been enjoying the privileges, advantages of others being in that spell about them, okay? Somebody can be in a spell about you because you're very attractive, okay? You got all this sexual energy about you, and people just select to ignore everything else, and they lie to themselves and tell themselves that the reason they're there is because of this, because of that. Oh, the value that they give in this, you know, oh, you're so smart, you're this, you're that. And really what the reason is you get a hard dick, you get a wet pussy behind the situation, okay? But you're justifying it so that you can have that outcome, or so that you can be connected to that romanticized ideal. You're manifesting trick knowledge over yourself. You're deceiving yourself. You're caught up in a fucking delusion, a trance, because you romanticize this person. Because, oh, they're so pretty. So everything that comes out their mouth, you believe is true. Everything that they say, you don't even question it. Why? Because you see titties and ass all in your fucking face. That's what happened with America in the first damn place, okay? And such people are no longer going to have that spell over the people, okay? This is the same thing with the great white hope, okay? White people. And this is not for all, let me first of all say, this is not for all white people, okay? But the great white image, all right, that enjoys privilege behind white supremacy, the legacy of white supremacy, and the assumptions that people take because of the brainwashing, the media, the lies in history that's been told, okay? He has carefully constructed an illusion about his status, his value, his intellect, his contributions to humanity, who and what he really is, what he's capable of, and what part he played in history. It's a lot of choppy ass, lying ass motherfucking bullshit behind that, okay? And what happens is we get down to see the reality for what it really is. The illusion of romanticization around great whiteness, okay, is dissolved, it's gone, it's shot, okay? It no longer has power. People like, damn, I'm disillusioned. You know, this is the motherfucker that I was worshiping. This is you know what I'm saying, what I was, you know, being entranced by, okay? And with feminism and liberalism to their extremes since the Obama era, sex hit the internet very, very, very hard, okay, when Neptune entered into Pisces. Ooh, sex really hit the internet so hard since that time. Okay, everybody has been challenged to be authentic, since you could swipe and look at ass and titties and prettiness and all these sexy images and all this other stuff. And what happens is, people through that transit of Pisces through of Neptune through Pisces, you got a lot of NPCs who selected out of the faculties of their consciousness because they did not overcome the struggles of the lower nature. Okay? And you just fall right into being spellbound by somebody's looks over the internet. Okay? Looks is the number one power over the internet. The ability to look at somebody and feel something because of a sexual charge that you get. Okay? And they pump you full of lies, propaganda, bullshit, things that just make no goddamn sense, but because they look good to you, you accept it as true. You don't even question it. Because it comes from this type of person, I don't even question it. Because I'm really here for sex anyway. I'm really here for the looks anyway. I'm really here for association and validation anyway. I'm really here to worship my idol anyways. So it doesn't matter what comes out of their mouth. I would just simply find a way or justification or reasoning to agree so that I can have access, proximation, and closeness to my idol. Okay? So idolizing. Okay? So this ends the legacy of especially females being able to have that spell over the people. All right? This ends the legacy of white supremacy as an image and status and legacy, being able to hold that illusion over the people. People are going to be disillusioned. Neptune is no longer in Pisces. And with Neptune no longer being in Pisces, that is a lesson that is already learned. It is a catalyst that has already been used. These spells over the internet. We're going to find a lot of people detached from the internet, detached from social media. This has already happened with TikTok, okay, and everybody finding out that the puppet masters took over that and they got the fuck out of Dodge, okay? So this is humanity upgrading and finally being able to actualize their reality and interact with their reality without romanticized preconceived notions, assumptions, and ideals that they cling to or justify and defend, rather than coming from the heart on the reasons why they're there, why they're retaining information or influence or whatever else. The real reason why you're there will be clarified. This changes everything. It changes who becomes famous, who gets rich, who enjoys high status, who has leverage and influence over other people. It totally changes it because it's no longer according to the collective agreement of Neptune transiting Pisces, which is to romanticize ideals that are beautiful, that are illustrious, that are spellbinding, that give you an escape from your reality, that are addictive to look at, that exalts your connection or addiction and entrancement to Venus, in which Venus is exalted in Pisces. South Node Virgo, number 9, saving us from the detriment of Venus, the Hermit card applied to the reality. This is part of the basis in which we found our way out of that spell. Understand? So all of those who enjoyed status through these illusions, through being able to hold a lustful tension out of other people, or an illustrious resume of lies and deceit that convinces other people to see them in the air of greatness or in the air of supremacy. It's over. People are waking up out of the spell, and here it comes. You could apply this to your personal life as well, okay? There's going to be some people in your life at your Aries placement who are not going to like the fact that you no longer are spellbound by them. You no longer are impressed by them. You no longer look up to them. You no longer are in a trance about them. You no longer have a sexual tension that's impairing your judgment about them. You're waking up out of it. You no longer feel threatened by them rejecting you. You no longer feel threatened by them removing their support or validation of you. You no longer look or seek them for advice or seek them for their approval before that you do or say or create things. Okay? And that makes them question their value. It makes them question their status. And in a panic, they are going to attempt to bully you back into place. That Black Moon Lilith, that Sagittarius, is you bringing a kind of truth out of yourself that makes you feel free. And when you have the nerve, the guts, the gall, the audacity to act on that need to express yourself in that free way, somebody else is going to attempt to bully you back into submission, bully you back into coercion. Listen to my word that I use. I said coercion. Let me pause because I don't think y'all listening. They're going to try to bully you back into coercion. Oh my God, please write that down in the comment section. I will not be bullied through coercion. I will not be bullied back into compliance through coercion. I need you to remember that word. For the love of God, I need you to remember that fucking word. God damn it, I need you to remember that fucking word. They're going to try to bully you back into coercive agreement. Ultimatums. Oh, well, since you can't do this, well, since you're not, since you want to be free, since you want to do what you want to do, since you want to be yourself all of a sudden, since you want to express yourself in a way that I don't agree with, since you don't want to express yourself in a way that makes me feel secure, in a way that I like, I'm going to give you the ultimatum. I'm going to cut you off. I'm going to reject you. I'm going to shame you. I'm going to insult you. I'm going to turn other people against you. I'm going to withhold benefit. I'm going to withhold support. Okay? So remember, it's coercion. They're going to try to coerce you back into, okay, submission. Back into contractual agreement that you really don't agree with in your spirit. Okay? Sagittarius is that part of you that was in your body that was saying, I agreed to this because it got me the benefit that I enjoy. It got me the association. It got me the proximation. It got me covering it. It helped me to make sense of my reality by identifying with the norms that I'm used to. And I had a false sense of security in that. But now that I'm braving, okay, to advance toward my own vision for myself and expression for myself, I'm willing to go it alone if I have to. I'm willing to lose everything if I have to because I have to be free. But me being free makes this person miserable. Me being who I am makes them frustrated. Me being what is natural to me makes them disappointed. That's not my fucking problem. But they're going to try to make it as if it is your problem, and it's fucking not. Let this be clear. Shaming you and guilting you back into submission. Don't stand for it. Saturn's transit in Aries brings up the topic of bullying. And you need to be aware of this ahead of time so that we are responsive and not reactive. Responsive and not reactive. You want to think back, if I calculate properly, okay, when I was between 12 and 14 years old is when I remember this transit. And I myself was dealing with bullying in schools, okay? And in dealing with bullying in schools, I definitely prevailed. You know, I got to whooping some ass and taking names. And it brought out a strength in me and a clarity in my identity and the ability to defend my identity. Understand that. You know, I had to make a little mess. You know what I'm saying? Spill a little blood on the floor. That just come with it though. But now, in my maturity, it's nothing to brag about, a grown-ass man out here, resorting to violence and fighting, fighting, war, combat, that takes another form in our maturity and our wisdom. Higher frequencies, we fight, understand? And so, this comes back around again, and what's different this time, and by the way, that was around 1996, give or take, okay? So think back, 1996, give or take, all right? This is when you last dealt with this kind of energy. So anyway, what's different this time is the fact that Neptune is in Aries. What Neptune brings into Aries is convictions, beliefs as the basis, okay? Confusion around convictions and beliefs as the basis. This is where the illusion is up. Nobody believes in your power anymore, your inappropriate power. Nobody's fazed by the ongoing legacy that you've enjoyed of people walking around intimidated by you, believing in the power that you used to walk with, thinking that you have authority and you don't. You're exposed. And this is people in the past timeline who used to enjoy power, who didn't earn that power, who used to enjoy authority but didn't earn that authority. People who are relying on and depending on you being fearful, guilt-tripped, shamed, low in your self-esteem, disconnected or confused about your identity, or walking on the eggshells and not want to make too much noise or disturbance. So they got to enjoy inappropriate power that they did not earn. Simple entitlement. Entitlement because the narrative hid their status. The narrative hid their image. The narrative was hiding their claim. This could take place in whichever house that you have Aries. This is where that reality is going to dawn for you. So as you listen, think in the context of the house where you have Aries to apply it to yourself. Understand? Where has the ongoing beliefs and narratives traditionally been playing into the favor of certain people who had assumptions and entitlements with illusions of authority, power, and influence and control, domination over others? Because this narrative is well intact, because in your own beliefs, you failed to verify those beliefs, you failed to investigate it, you failed to test it or check it, okay? You conform because it was safe for you to conform. It was comfortable for you to choose selective ignorance. It was easier for you to be docile and dance around what you know you could have exposed, should have exposed, or you may have felt alienated or that rejection was around the corner if you say something. There's certain people who walk around environments and it's like everybody has this telepathic agreement, this psychic agreement that no, you're not supposed to check that person. You're not supposed to disagree with that person. You're not supposed to verify that person. You're not supposed to examine that person. So the rules apply to everybody except them. You know your common sense, your logic is telling you something ain't right about the authority that they have, the power that they have. Something is inappropriate, something is off. This nigga shouldn't be there. You're not even qualified for this. Why the fuck are you even in this role, in that role? Why do you have that position? Why do you have that title? Why do you think that you should get to enjoy the level of authority and power that you have? And what's behind that is illusions and narratives. beliefs that everybody bought into because niggas was too fucking lazy to investigate those beliefs, too scared, too cowardly, and too shook to challenge it. But now that Pluto is at Aquarius, we are charged with a particular kind of energy in our power system. And that particular kind of energy in our power system, it has everything to do with daring to change rather than accept. Daring to change rather than accept. And I cannot accept this narrative anymore because this nigga is bogus. This dizzy bitch is walking around here bogus. Too many motherfuckers walking around delusional about themselves because of false and superficial values behind how we determine authority, power, leverage, influence, who should be followed, who should be listened to, who should be respected, who should be risen up among us, who should be supported, so on and so forth. This could go in ways that, let me give examples. The global and collective context that this takes is white supremacy, number one. White supremacy. The inappropriate assumptions, the entitlements behind white supremacy. If you're white, you're right. If you're a white male, you should be out front. You should be in charge. Your opinion is what matters most. Your ideas hold the most weight. You automatically should hold authority or power in all circumstances, situations, and dynamics and hierarchy. You're the one who should be out front. You're the only one who's qualified or trustworthy. This has been ongoing narratives that the societies all over the globe have collectively agreed to. And there has been threat behind it. There has been duress behind it. There have been consequences behind actually challenging those ideas, testing those ideas, unpacking and examining those ideas. This is where the people are on the same page as saying, this nigga is bogus. He is flawed just like every other person. He is just as human as everybody else. It's an illusion around him of his superiority. It's an illusion around him about his status, his greatness, and even his pedigree. It's the pulling of his card. And in pulling of his card, putting it on the record that this nigga is bogus. His historical claims about his pedigree, his historical claims about his creativity and contributions to humanity, society, and civilization overall, it stands to be fraudulent. It is rooted in assumptions, entitlements, false narratives, lies, deceit. And it's been supported by the desire of proximation of all other peoples who happen to be light-skinned, who defend and support it so that their proximation with that assumption of power transfers over to them and they receive the covering therefrom. But because everybody's disenfranchised from white proximity and decentralization of government, which raises his illusion of status. This is where people can get into the sober mind state and finally accept, okay, I have to take a more sincere perspective and look at this situation. I have to look at it more genuinely rather than the way that I used to, because I had secret desires that I want to be associated with power. I want to be associated with authority. I want to stand in the graces of Pluto and Saturn, but for the wrong intentions. These illusions are going to be dissolved. Same thing with the African American female, who is the basis of the attitude globally of all females who secretly lust for feminist expression in themselves. She is the source of how they learn how to align with such expression in their own life. She's the muse by which they find the guts, the glory, the courage to actually live it out that way in the attitude that they determine. The same way that homosexuals look at her as their marching orders and cadence. It's where they get the personality from. It's where they get the ways from. It's where they get the talking points from. It's where they get the arguments and attitude from. It's where they get the choice vocabulary from. It's where they get the swag and the culture that lifts that feminist spirit up in the air. They get it from her. So there's two people besides Khazarians, that's a separate subject, who have an equal standing in exposure that's coming up, the pulling of the card that's coming up, and that's the African American female, and that is the white male's image. When I say this, it is not to assume that it's all white males. It's not to assume that it's all black females, black American females in particular, specifically. It is not to assume that it's all of them. It's always exceptions. It's always exceptions because everybody does not subscribe to that. However, there is a collective image that's been raised, a standardized perception of that collective image, culture, fraternity. And entitlement and assumptions went with it. The illusions of African American females' status given to them by these white power structures, strategically, especially starting from Lyndon B. Johnson's era and the welfare state, the Civil Rights Act, and other nuances that went along with raising her up in order to use that as a means to abase the black male. She took conceit with it. She has not been aware of the illusion and the game running on her. Now accountability comes. Nobody is no longer going to be impressed with these two images anymore. People are not going to buy into the illusion of the greatness and superiority anymore. Nobody's going to buy into the suggestion of their supremacy anymore. Nobody's going to cooperate with their inappropriate power and authority anymore. They are going to lose it. And with them losing it, they are going to fall apart and expose themselves. And this is where Saturn comes in. Saturn in Aries it's debilitated. It's weakened. Because it has the effect of having to get somewhere fast. Your wife is pregnant, she's going into labor, you're hitting on the gas, but you have to keep hitting on the brakes as you go. Okay? So it's not favorable. The brakes is against the entire algorithm of consciousness and intent of consciousness of Aries in and of itself, Saturn. So what's going to end up happening is the authority being exposed, the beliefs that went around lifting them up to assume a value of them that is not true of them, a worth of them that is not true about them. These assumptions coming down, people will start treating them exactly as they see them to be. People will start treating them exactly as they know them to be. You are not special. You are not entitled. You are not better than everybody. The ideas and opinions that you rely on everybody seeing you through or agreeing with you on, it no longer will be there to support you. And these two images will begin to feel like somebody did them wrong, like somebody slighted them, like somebody's hating on them, like somebody's coming against them. But no, it's not the case. Your assumptions and entitlements are dissolving, and you're coming back to the true self that you have constructed or failed to construct in yourself that leads to an actual value rather than the assumption of value. And now you find out that you're bankrupt and you out of fucking gas. You're out of gas. It's like shaving the mane off of a lion. Shaving the mane off of the lion. These two have a karmic challenge because they got to enjoy inappropriate power. They influence other people with this inappropriate power. People sold other people out in order to have proximation to that inappropriate power. People indulge in corruption, went against the conscience, went against that which was good or right to do in order to have acceptance and validation from these two images, the white male and the black American female. Nobody could get through to them. Can't nobody tell them nothing. White American females have risen in consciousness and now are attempting to hold accountable that white male image. So likewise, black American males are rising in consciousness and attempting to hold black American females accountable in that image. And in particular, that was Kevin Samuels who brought it to a zenith. This time she cannot escape it. So what is going to be the consequence is bullying. And the way that the bullying will work is in the realization that Neptune is bringing confusion in the transfer of other people's beliefs about them, people's romanticization of their image, romanticization of their status, romanticization of their legacy of assumed greatness. It now gets dissolved back to its true image and status and standard. And so when a person enjoys power and authority and they lose that power authority, or they assume that they are losing that power and authority, what happens? They panic. They panic in order to maintain control of it. And what does Aries do in that situation? Aries gets in a rush. Aries gets ahead of itself. Aries becomes impulsive, tripping over itself. It becomes overly aggressive. It becomes sinister. It becomes combative. It creates and stirs up war and strife. So in that, it weaponizes every debate, it weaponizes every disagreement, it weaponizes every point of conflict. In trying to maintain the status, it uses shaming tactics, laughing emojis, the talking of shit, trying to get alliances to buy in to the illusion that they want to be held. Who still believes in me? Who still believes in the illusion, the great status that I got to enjoy? Who still believes in it? What can I use to get them to help me to echo this conviction? Who can I get to help me to echo and champion my image back up to greatness? It's like the person who comes in a room and a hand clapping. Yes, Caesar, Caesar, come on everybody. Caesar is great. Come on, clap everybody, Caesar. And nobody wants to clap. Nobody's clapping. Everybody's looking down at the fingernails. They're picking their nose. They looking around like this nigga need to just give it up. It's over. You don't have it no more. The power is no longer there. And so this person runs into the crisis that they have no choice but to get themselves together. And that's a long journey. Woo! It's a long journey because the power and authority of that collective body is now exposed. It is exposed. Now what this is not individuals. It's a collective body that they all find coverage in. Okay? It's a collective body. That's the astral body. This astral body that they have built or constructed through these narratives, assumptions, entitlements, and illusions that people have of them. For example, many people buy into African American females' illusion through the magical attitude that they're able to generate, the talking points that they're able to generate, the impossibility of anybody to argue them down, their voluptuous bodies and curves and all of these different things that low vibrational people cannot see past, and they get caught up in and fall in a spell, and it's Anything you want me to think, anything you want me to say, anything you want me to believe. The simping ass niggas. Okay? It's a lot of bitch ass, bitch made ass, simping ass niggas out there who will go for anything that she says, who will comply with anything that she says, who will agree with anything that she says just because of the sexual tension and attraction. And unfortunately, in America, more women lust for women than men lust for women in this country. And that's a fact. That's a fact. So it's the crowds. It's the fraternities. It's the fan base of these two bodies. The fan bases of these two bodies are going to become disillusioned about them. They no longer are going to be spellbound by her sexual energy. They're no longer going to be spellbound by his illusion of legacy, okay, and power. The truth is out now. And the truth is weighing against these assumptions. So this is the people coming out of assumptions. This is the people coming out of agreeing with the entitlement that they get to enjoy. And instead, the people are saying, if that's what you want, if this is where you claim, if this is the claim that you're making of your status and right being here, that it is indeed your right, you have to show and prove that it is your right. You have to demonstrate that it is your right. If you can't show and prove and demonstrate, then we will not respect you. And that's how this goes. Understand that. So ain't nobody going to be getting respect, authority, power, leadership, influence, so on and so forth, just by being able to make a dick hard, by being able to make a pussy wet, by being able to enjoy the lies in history books about yourself and the images in every media outlet that you can imagine of white greatness. He being the only hero that ever came in existence. The only one who thought up civilization, although come to find out it's the exact opposite. Civilization was already here before this motherfucker arrived. Thank you very much. Before he ever came into existence, civilization was here, and it was here for a very, 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 very long time. He is late to school. Thank you very much. He can only be a student in this earth, according to the legacy of this earth. Inappropriate powers are over. Ain't working no more. It's dead. It's gone. So the bullying's going to come out because you want control. You need people to believe in your magic. You need people to believe in a lie about you. You need people to keep worshiping you. You need people to keep praising you. You need people to keep looking at you as something greater than you really are. All the beauty supplies that you continue to buy at the Chinese store, okay? Wigs, makeup, lashes, big ass fake horse teeth, long ass nails, all your curves and all this. Ain't none of that shit getting ready to put the illusion of the Wizard of Oz back over you, okay? We made it to the end of the yellow brick road, and niggas look behind that curtain, and the Wizard of Oz is this little ass nigga who need a high chair to even look over the desk. You're exposed, and nobody's impressed. Nobody believes you anymore. Understand? So that's going to bring the worst out of people because they're trying to align with and they're trying to identify with and they're trying to keep hold of authority, Saturn. They're trying to keep hold of the illusion, Neptune. Okay? And this operating through Aries, they're going to be very impulsive about what they do, resorting to lies, sowing of deceit, trying to work their magic over more intensified, falling apart as they do it because they're too much in a rush to try to keep hold of it. So they're going to start attacking people. They're going to start being extra aggressive with people. They're going to turn one against the other. They're going to deflect and get the attention off of them and make comparisons of themselves to other people so that they can look in a certain light and others look down. As they see themselves and the status plummeting, they have to make somebody else plummet farther so that they can still have the illusion of being higher. This is going to happen across the board. As I mentioned about Khazarians who have always been the puppet masters of the Constantinians, i.e. white supremacists, okay? They are the puppet master of white supremacists, okay? Khazarians. Khazarians also are going to face the same dilemma. The world the society is going to wake up about what they're on to. This is already happening, as you see. The Stein files, if you know what I'm talking about, the Stein files, okay? It's events like this that sets the basis for all of this to manifest. That's setting the basis for all of this to manifest. And with this setting the basis for it all to manifest, children have direct access to the heart. So because children are involved in this, people have no choice but to reply from the heart about the matter, because this is children. This is the worst thing that could have possibly happened in our world. Our children. So what this does is it exposes some people, because many will still try to justify what evils are taking place in higher places. Why? Because they need what they have used to believe in to remain true. They don't want it to be untrue. They need it to remain true because they have identified with what comes with that status, what comes with that association, what comes with that proximation. They need it to be true. So they're going to argue against morals, values, integrity, and that which is right, exposing themselves. Understand that. Now, in your personal life, you do have bullying coming up for all of these same reasons. You just have to interpret it to the value of the house natally where you have Aries. This works in trine with Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius, which is a reason why the bullies will not succeed. They will not have victory. They will not last. They will not succeed. They will have no choice but to respect the truth. They will have no choice but to respect their fate. They will have no choice but to begin their journey karmically of coming to true value in their self the way that everybody else had to. No free rides. Understand? So this trine, the way that this works is that through Sagittarius Black Moon Lilith, there's raw truth in you that is fighting to come out, and you can't hold it down. You can't resist it. It's not something of the ethereal intellect. It's something of the body that you cannot suppress. That you have to be, that you have to do, that you have to say, that you have to live out. You will fall over and fucking die if you don't get to, if you cannot live out the way that your true conviction of your soul is having you to do. Black Moon Lilith is not going to let you be passive about it. She wants all the smoke. Okay? She's like that girl in the projects growing up who had that little ass ponytail that you could barely even pinch with a razor in her mouth. You know what I mean? And anybody step to her, she knocking niggas out. You know what I'm saying? Y'all remember that girl in school? You know what I'm saying? She got the little ass ponytail. You know what I mean? But she could fight. You know what I'm saying? That's Black Moon Lilith. She got the razor in the mouth. Like, you know, I want all the smoke. I want all the smoke. So we're going to defend the truth of the conviction of the spirit, which is upon righteousness. It is upon truth. Understand that. So the bullies don't stand a chance. They don't stand a chance. Okay? So in your microcosm world, the house where you have Aries, people are going to start seeing this in you. They're going to see that you're going to stop asking permission. They're going to see that you're going to stop apologizing. They're going to see that you're going to stop walking on eggshells, that you're going to be assertive. You're going to be direct. You're going to be matter of fact. You're going to prefer change rather than conformity. You're going to be taking bold and loud steps of Sagittarius. You're going to take up space as Sagittarius, and you're going to let your nuts hang. And that's going to be a problem for people, because what happens is, as you step into the truth of who you are, the light of your truth, the illumination of that truth, which coincides with full moon Leo, okay, is part of the expression of the unfolding of full moon Leo, okay? So as they see that, and remember that full moon Leo is trine to all of these. Understand, stay with me, consistent, you heard? The real light is coming out. So as that real light intensifies and begins to spread in the conviction of you no longer taking permission, you no longer, trying to take quiet steps, you no longer tiptoeing around, okay? It's challenging the illusion that they felt safe behind. It's challenging the false sense of authority that they once used to enjoy, because they see that you're not respecting it no more. They see that you're not acknowledging it anymore. You don't respond to fear, shame, guilt anymore. You don't feel like you owe to the conformity anymore. Okay? And this is going to startle them, because what it does is it exposes a dilemma for them. And that dilemma is, either I'm not the person that I want them to believe that I am, okay? Or this person is just straight up disrespectful. It's going to be one of the two. And so the cognitive dissonance is now projected onto them. And that cognitive dissonance says, hold up, why don't my authority work? Why you ain't submissive to me? Why you ain't doing what I asked you to do? How come you ain't tiptoeing around me? Why ain't you shy no more around me? Why you ain't holding your words back? You know what? I'm starting to feel uncomfortable around you, because now you starting to speak your mind. Now you starting to express yourself. You starting to take up space. You sitting down with your legs spread open. You letting your nuts hang. Hold up. What's going on here? Do you know my rank? Do you know my status? And you looking back at them like, nigga, you ain't got no rank, you ain't got no status. The shit is bogus. I pull your card. Here, it's right here. It's bullshit. Fix that. Fuck you mean? Nigga, you ain't on that. You are not what you claim to be. You are not what you say you are. You are not who you say you are. I am. This is the rising of the underdogs. All of the underdogs who was blocked from light, the underdogs who was disenfranchised, the underdogs who was laughed at, mocked at, made fun of, put down in the back of the bus, the Cinderellas, the Josephs in the well. This is the underdogs coming up out of the ground. And they're coming with true light. They're coming with real authority. They're coming with the legacy and the story that they lied about. So the legacy that they claim, the status that they claim, the value that they claim, now they are realizing that the very ones who are suppressed are the ones who have the actual story that they claim and don't got. They're the ones who have the value that they wanted to claim, but they don't got it. The real ones are rising up. I really got that story. I really did live through that. I really did overcome those things. I really am that nigga, but you ain't. And the true ones are standing next to the false ones. It's like the real gold is put on the table right after refinement of the number 9 South Node Virgo process. The gold is polished, is finished, is perfected, is glistening, is shining, is ready for the New York Diamond District, is sitting on the motherfucking table next to the fool's gold. And niggas is taking, the microscope, looking up at all the details, the cuts of it and everything else. And they're like, yo, this shit is bogus. This is fool's gold. Get this shit the fuck out of here. Who brought this shit in here? This is fool's gold. And now they're exposed because the real gold has now surfaced. And they were too NPC to realize that the things that you were suffering, the things that you were denied for all these years, all of the humiliation that you suffered, the destiny swapping that you had to tolerate, people being in roles and positions that you know you was destined for. People who were doing the things that you know that you was qualified for, not them. People who was living out your story. People who took claim to your identity. Who pretended to be you. They're exposed. It's the shock of Joseph sitting on the throne of the Pharaoh. And the very ones who threw Joseph in the well, they are shocked because here they come begging for bread. And Joseph is sitting right there on the throne, still showing humility and grace to them. But you threw him in the well. You thought he was dead. You thought he was done. You thought he was finished. The underdogs is coming up. The real rights is coming up. The real ones is coming up. And that's you who was downtrodden. That's you who was left out, forgotten, put in the back, embarrassed, humiliated, put through the bullshit. You had to go underground and clean up the sewers while they got to enjoy all of the great things and status of this life, laughing and giggling, drinking and smoking and being married. But now here comes you, the truth. And when they see you, they gasp for air. They can't believe it. They spit out their wine. They stand up from the crowds of women around them. They no longer can hold the attention of the people because the truth has come. This is Moses who presents himself to James and Jabris. Do you understand? When Moses presented his staff to the magicians of the Pharaoh, and the staff of Moses turned into a serpent and it consumed the staff of James and Jabris. That's you. You are Moses who comes with the staff that consumes the staff of James and Jabris. Your staff will turn into a serpent that consumes theirs, and that serpent represents a wisdom that checks them on point and pulls a motherfucking card and says this shit is fake, it ain't valid. And you can get down now, because this is my throne that I was destined for. This is my destiny that you was claiming to have to identify with. This is my estate that you assumed entitlement to. This is my legacy that you pretended to live out because you don't even match it. You don't even have the spirit and mindset to go with it. Who are you? And there will be nothing anybody can say or do, because guess what? God sent you. Go to Pharaoh and tell him, let my people go. That's who these people are. And hopefully that's who you are. The Moses that's sent. Understand? So people are going to have a hard time in the fact that you aligning with the truth now. You aligning with the conviction that you have, and that Black Will Live is going to insist. Nigga, I want all the smoke. I'm going to let my nuts swing. I'm going to let my nuts hang. And I want somebody to say something. Try me, nigga. Because you bogus. You fraudulent. Mark my words. That the world is about to find out who the least of us really is. And when you find out who the least of us is, you also simultaneously find out and expose who the highest of us was. Who has been on the top of the food chain in the planet Earth. Yes, this is the time where he falls from grace. Who has been on the bottom of the food chain in the earth. The same one who Hitler told you about, African Americans, nigga. And you ain't gotta fucking like it. You don't have to like it. Because you liking it or not ain't gonna make no motherfucking difference. He and Khazarians have been pretending to be who the fuck we are. They've been enjoying the destiny of us. The destiny swap of us. And that's why so much effort had to be put into how the transatlantic slave trade was done under the management of Khazarians. Christian black codes that switched the identity of indigenous Native Americans into Negro, black, and colored. The assumptions of entitlement and ownership of all of the people on earth through unum sanctum, which spread out the will of that assumption of control and domination from the Spanish Inquisition. Doctrine of discovery that stole the estate of our forefathers in this earth overall. The secret treaty of Verona that used religion, that which they believed in, against them to keep them submissive and docile. So as it was with Constantine, the secret treaty of Verona is nothing but an extension of the expression of Constantine himself. And over all of the native tribes of the Americas, Latin America, which in essence is the Tainos, the Arawak, and the Caribbeans. And that doesn't exclude Central America and South America. The Choctaws of Mississippi, the Cherokee of Tennessee, Kentucky, the Murs, M-U-U-R-S, of the Northwest, of Mexum. The real ones stand now, and nobody's going to stop it. And this goes the same in your household. This goes the same in your world. Who's been enjoying inappropriate authority and power? Checkmate. They're going to turn into a bully. They're going to insult you. They're going to try to disrespect you. They're going to try to turn alliances against you. They're going to do whatever they can to keep a sense of control and power in their life because they see it falling out of their hands. It's like an abusive husband, and the wife is trying to get away. And he senses that she's done. He senses that she really wants to leave now. He senses that he has lost the illusion that he used to be able to hold over her. He's lost that image, that status that he's been able to romanticize over her eyes. He's lost that appeal. He's lost that sense of control, and he's becoming desperate. He's starting fights and arguments. He's coming in, bringing up all type of negative things and trying to be, playing mind games over her. He doesn't want her to leave, so he sabotages her situation. He does what he can to mess up her money, to disconnect her from a sense of self-esteem and belief in herself, alienate her from people who love her, who could recharge or redeem her sense of consciousness about herself so she can understand and get out of that situation. The abusive husband now realizes that the battered wife is ready to go. The battered wife has recovered her self-esteem and her dignity, and she's finding the fucking exit. And he don't want that to happen, so he is going to manifest extremes in his behavior to try to maintain that control, and it's going to manifest as bullying. But we all know we must always stand up to the bully. Always stand up to the bully. You don't never give in to a bully. You stand up to a bully because every bully is a coward. Every bully is a coward. Understand that. In this energy, in the corporate worlds, in government offices, celebrities, elected officials, popular people of your community, popular people online, and what got them there. It's coming down. This sets us up to align with the North Node Aquarius, South Node Leo. Because remember, Saturn's transit, it works in unison with the transfer of the nodal axis. Understand that. And the transfer of the nodal axis from Virgo and Pisces to Leo and Aquarius is based upon this crisis that's taking place at Aries with Saturn and Neptune. The exposure and dissolve of inappropriate authority, power, and the romanticized assumptions that used to keep people spellbound in power. Okay? This is just like people who look up to Beyonce and they worship her, the beehives and all this other stuff. People who worship Nicki Minaj, people who worship all these, they turn their brain off and they use Neptune to place her in a romanticized status that hides the truth of what they're looking at. It's a spell, it's magic, it's sorcery, it's witchcraft. But that becomes undone, and they start to see everyone for who they really are in these places. So the South Node Leo, okay, understand what's coming up. South Node Leo. Everybody who has enjoyed Leo status through destiny swapping, assumptions and entitlement to destinies, resume, credibility, even storylines of their life that is not them, being exposed and falling from grace. So at the end of this transit, nobody's going to believe anymore in these people. Celebrities are going to come all the way down. Government officials are going to come all the way down, to the point where nobody has any respect for any of them whatsoever. Nobody believes in them. Nobody cares. And it returns to the grassroots from whence we came. It goes back to the people. The people who they were imitating. The people who they were pretending to be. The people whose life they were living out without earning it. And now only the real ones will be relevant. Leo Light. This transit challenges illegitimate authority. How do you have authority and nobody respects you? You have no credibility. Your character is shot. Fuck what you saying. Fuck what's coming out your mouth. Fuck all that. We see who you are. We see what you about. We see what you do. And many people disagree with me. Many people dislike me for saying this. But this ain't only about the white supremacist image. African American females go hand in hand with this because they share the same image in how they utilize inappropriate power and illusions of their status and value. This is where people take a long time to catch up. That illegitimate authority, power, influence, leverage that they have over the people is shot. What ends up happening with that is there's a resort to intimidation, shaming, shouting, trying to control, and going the extremes to stay in that status. Alliances is the go-to for people in such situation. Because when they see that they don't have that type of power, they go through emotional energy, which is laughter. How can I shame this person? How can I make fun of this person? How can I talk about their hairline? How can I talk about their sneakers? How can I talk shit about them? How can I say, oh, these Democrats, oh, these blue-haired white women, oh, these illegal immigrants, oh, yeah, just killing everybody. Yeah, these Muslims, oh, these black men, yeah, you gotta watch them. Hide your eyes, they're dangerous. They have to resort to these means to go through the emotions, because NPCs don't have fucking brains. The fucking brain dead. Dumbass motherfuckers. But if you can access them through emotion, you can steer them in the direction that you want to go. And laughter is one form of magic. If you could get people to laugh, you could get consent without words. You can get an illusion of compliance. You can get an illusion of agreement. This is why you got to be careful what the fuck you out here laughing at and who you laughing with. There's going to be the tough guy image. You got to try to throw your weight. You got to try to be intimidating somehow. So whatever way that you feel like you could threaten other people through your status by what you enjoyed of benefit, the illusion of benefit is gone. So people are no longer feeling threatened because what held the threat was the illusion that they had benefit in having proximity to you. Like gay people having proximity to black American women, they always protect black American women. They stand up for her. They defend her. No matter how wrong she is, they still stand up for her. They defend her no matter how dirty her drawers are. Why? Because they need the proximation so that they have protection, alliance, and covering. It's an illusion. The proximity. You want to defend the white Christian nationalist image because you want the proximation to it because you light skinned and you want to enjoy that proximation. It keeps you covered. It keeps you safe. But you're no longer going to have access to that. So what the fuck you going to do now?